Welcome back. So in our last video, we had a quick look at an example of the sine rule in trigonometry. We also had a look at the fact that we really need to make sure that our equation, like the scales, is balanced, and that really ultimately that's what maths is all about. When you're trying to find an unknown value, it's about balancing those scales. We've also looked at our trigonometry ratios and our acronym SOHCAHTOA. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. So in this video, we're just going to very quickly have a worked example of using cosine to find an unknown value. So let's move over to some spare space and let's get started. Okay, so once again, excusing for artistic interpretation, we have our right angle triangle here. And let's make sure we label our right angle in the corner right there. Okay, now we're gonna start to put some values in. 15 there, let's go 40 degrees again here. But this time we want to find the value of this one. We know from our question that we're going to be using trigonometry, so the first thing we're going to be doing is putting our acronym up the top. So SOHCAHTOA. And this is, again, just going to help us keep on track. So now what we're going to do, we're going to start to identify the different sides of the triangle. So we put our dot in the middle, and from the angle that is given, we're going to draw our straight line through the dot until we leave the triangle. There we go. That is our opposite side. Next, we're going from the right angle, again through that dot. Well, once we've left the triangle, that is the hypotenuse. And the last one left, which is that one here, that is the adjacent. It is adjacent or next to the given angle. So up the top, let's have a look. We do not have our opposite labeled, so we don't care about our opposite just yet, but we do have our adjacent labeled. So we'll come along, look for adjacent. Okay, so cosine has adjacent and tan has adjacent. But what else is labeled? So we know the hypotenuse is labeled, so we're going to come along here. Okay, the hypotenuse is labeled for sine, the hypotenuse is labeled for cosine, and out of those three functions, the only one that has both of them underlined is cosine. So that's the function that we're going to use. That's how we identify that we're going to use cosine theta. And we know from looking over here that cosine theta is going to be adjacent divided by the hypotenuse, or adjacent over hypotenuse. Now that we have this down, our next line, we're just going to fill in the values that we have. So cosine 40 degrees will equal our adjacent being unknown, x, over our hypotenuse, which is 15. Now that we've got this down, we can start to cancel out. Now, just like in the last one, we're going to multiply by the denominator. Here we go. 15. Multiply that by 15. What we do to one side, we do to the other. So we're going to multiply this also by 15. Now, when we rewrite this, cosine 40 times 15 equals x, because remember, this 15 cancels it there, cancels it there. Now, when we put this into our calculator, cosine 40, close brackets, times 15 will equal 11.49, and so on. Remember, we are rounding to 2 decimal places, and that's how we use our cosine rule, or that's how we use cosine theta to find the unknown side. As always, if you have any questions, write them down in your book or write them down somewhere you can remember and bring them to class, and we'll do as much work as we can to get through some of those questions that you have. As always, catch you later.